This is another thing that I added to my equipment. This is Neumann. I usually use a U87, the newer version, and this right here is, it's like the little brother of a U87. It's the I don't even 102 actually. I'm sorry. It's crazy because it looks small. It looks small in the in pictures, but in person, it probably won't even do it justice in my hand. But this thing is super small. It's crazy small. It easily fits in your pocket. And my whole purpose of getting this, along with this duet right here, was portability and being able to, you know, really stick it in your pocket and be on the go and take it home and do what you got to do. I just wish I use an Avalon also. I just wish that they made a small version of that, and I could take that with me too. So I may end up getting a non-tube preamp that's a lot smaller, and see what that can do. I'll say this about this Neumann. I think it's actually really good. The size is crazy small, which I really like. But other than that, I would have to say that the sound out the box sounds pretty... It reminds me of it sounds like a voiceover sound. It sounds very bass heavy. They say it's a neutral mic, and it's bumped at about, I think it's in the 6K or 5K or something like that. There's a bump somewhere to kind of add a little bit of, I don't know, presence to it or whatnot. Me, the way that I work it, I actually have it to the point where I actually like it better than my U87, and people gonna think it's crazy, but I pair it with my my Avalon, and what I do is I don't like the sound 100% as is on the mic. My U87 is much brighter and much more clear, so but I like the presence of it. This has a little more vocal width, if that makes any sense, like a more stereo presence than my U87 for some reason, at least paired with this getup right here. Well, on the Avalon, I try to do it as it's probably still somewhat destructive, but I kind of EQ it to taste straight out of the microphone as a foundation. So I'm not EQing it to somebody in particular. I actually cut certain frequencies and bump a little here and there, and I do it very selectively, and I don't do too much. And the way I do it is I start the mic out sounding a little more clear straight out the box. So the way I touch the EQ is you wouldn't even know that I'm touching anything. So what I do is when I bring it in like that, I don't compress it or anything. When I bring it into Pro Tools, from that point, I basically EQ it to the point where you would think that I bought it that way, and that's how it sounds out the box. And then from that point, I actually EQ it again to taste. So I just think the mic is a little, at least with the Avalon here, it's pretty bass heavy. It's a little too heavy, and I think it doesn't stick with the mix very well. Maybe for voiceover you can record it as is and leave it as it is, but for vocals, like hip-hop vocals and stuff like that, I thin it out a little bit more, and it still has a good presence. I think it sounds real clear. Does it sound better than the U87? It's not better than U87, but I will say this: the mic is a lot cheaper. I think it was like $700, and my U87 was like $3,500. That U87 technology, I mean, the one I had was only maybe 5 years old, but the technology in itself and that microphone is pretty old. So I believe over time now, just like this little duet here, this has better quality than my Digio 3 board and my separate AD converter. At least the AD converter that I was using together, it's at least the same quality or maybe even better. And with that being said, even though this is small, that just shows me that the technology has changed, where I believe that they're able to cram more into such a small device and have good quality. I don't think they would sacrifice their brand as a whole for an affordable version and make it sound like crap. I don't think they're gonna make a crappy mic. It's just what you do with it to make the most of it. And like I said, I actually think it sounds better for what I use it for than my U87, and it's much more smaller and it's much more affordable. But maybe for instruments, I'm not sure how it's gonna sound. That's probably where you'll notice some differences with live tracking, but I don't really use it for that, so that doesn't really apply to me. But for anybody looking to get it, especially as a starter in studio mic or in your house or whatever, you know, professional or non-professional, it doesn't matter. I think it's a good starting mic. Are there other brands that maybe sound better? I'm pretty sure they do, but it's all subjective and it's your taste. I just I'm comfortable with this brand. I'm comfortable with Apergy, so I try to stick in that same family. So overpriced or not, I mean, it probably is, but I believe you get what you pay for sometimes too. So, but just do your research. I recommend the mic. Get it. It looks nice too. You can actually, it doesn't come with a shock mount. It comes with a little screw-on like a holder. But you can pay like 120, I think it's like 125 or something like that, and you can get a shock mount. It's a mini shock mount, but it'll probably help. So other than that, go ahead and get it. I recommend it. Any questions, just let me know. All right.